Welcome back to your news at night. I'm Jacob with Sports. To start off with sports, I want to talk about something a little humorous. The Arizona Coyotes and the St. Louis Blues have faced off 7 times this season in a row. So what the Arizona Coyotes decided to do after winning their best of 7 series, they decided to put out a little tweet to the St. Louis Blues, saying to the St. Louis Blues, I know it's Valentine's Day, but I think it's time for us to start seeing other teams. I thought that was just a nice little humorous thing to start off the segment tonight. Now, what I want to dive into, the Leafs lost 2 straight for the first time this season. That's something we're surprised to see because the Leafs have looked pretty solid. Against the Habs, at least it was a close game. The Habs did a great job at holding Marner and Matthews to only 1 point each, with Marner with a goal and Matthews with an assist. Brandon Gallagher pops in a goal and an assist, including the game-winning goal. We all remember that show, The Price is Right. Well, the price was right last night, with Carey Price making 21 saves that night. And one thing I didn't like seeing from Toronto, they were out-hit 46-16. That is a big issue for Toronto here because without Wayne Simmons, we're not nearly as big. And I felt Montreal knew that and took a really big advantage of it. Now, the game that I think is frustrating all of Leaf Nation right now is the Leafs versus the Sens. Picture this. Joe Thornton has a goal and an assist. Austin Matthews has 2 goals and an assist. You're up 5-1 towards the end of the second period. You're turning that TV off. You think the game's over. But Ottawa gets a shorthanded goal to make it 5-2 before the end of the second. Then in the third, come out flying, tied up at 5. Gets in overtime. Toronto gets a great chance. Hogburn makes a really good save. And Ottawa goes back in the breakaway and scores. What I think really got to Toronto this game was Tkachuk really got under Anderson's skin, which that's a big thing Tkachuk likes to do, and you could see Anderson was a little off. Like I said, Jumbo Joe did have a big impact this game, his first game back, getting a goal and an assist. Anderson looked tired. I think Anderson needs a day off, which I'm hoping to see Hutchinson starting tomorrow, because I think Anderson really needs a day to just not be on the ice. And the Sens did a great job shorthanded creating those offensive chances, and they just frankly never gave up. I got to give Ottawa credit where credit's due. They're a team that doesn't give up no matter where they are in the game. Now, as I mentioned there, Anderson's been playing a lot lately, and in the last 2 games he has been struggling. Only has an .857 save percentage, and he has allowed 8 goals in 2 games. Now, mind you, 6 of those goals were in the 1 game against Ottawa. But I think Anderson, like I said, really just needs that time off to not be on the ice and just be able to play his game. Because normally he's got a .901 save percentage, which .857 and .901, that's a really big difference. Toronto did make a move over the weekend, though. They picked up Alex Galchenyuk. What I like to see if getting Alex Galchenyuk, he adds some more grit. This guy was a 30-goal scorer not that long ago. He is still young. He is a cap-friendly contract. And the Leafs gave up a prospect and a decent defenseman. The reason why I'm okay with the Leafs doing that right now is this is the time for the Leafs to try to win. It's not the time to be building up more prospects. We've been doing that for the past 4 years. Now it's time to try to win, and they wanted to bolster their bottom 6 as much as they can. So I think Vancouver watched the show the other day, because they woke up and they smelled that coffee. They made that trip to Tim's and they started playing a heck of a lot better. Vancouver needs to wake up and smell the coffee. Ooh. I don't know what they're doing out there. They're not forechecking. They're not pressuring the puck. They're not moving well. They look like a minor team out there. I'm getting very frustrated.
Yeah, I know. I can feel that energy. No worries.
It's like a team that last year had a good playoff run. They get rid of a lot of their star power, but they still have enough star power they should be able to do something. And all kidding aside, Ottawa at least is putting in the work. Over the 2 games against the Flames, they outshot them 79-46. That's something I really like seeing. Only reason why Vancouver doesn't win both of those games, Markstrom was on yet again, playing outstanding. And another positive, though, for Vancouver, Brock Boeser did get his 10th goal of the season, which puts him in second for the goal race. Which is funny, the top 3 players in the goal race, Matthews, Boeser, and Toffoli, are all in their own division, all playing for Canadian teams. But it's nice to see for Vancouver, they were able to take 3 out of 4 points over the weekend, and I think they really needed that after that 6-game losing streak. Now they need to take the confidence they got from this weekend, move forward, and try to put together a winning streak to give them a chance to be fighting for that 4th and final playoff spot in the division. Red Wings had a bit of a tough weekend. They're lacking scoring and they're lacking goaltending. A player who I really want to address on the Red Wings is Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin at one point was compared to Connor McDavid, and he's just not doing the same thing anymore. Like, he does have 9 points, which isn't necessarily bad, but to put in perspective, Bobby Ryan has 8. You were expecting Dylan Larkin to be like your top tier superstar and Bobby Ryan to be some of your bottom 6 scoring. I also think for the Red Wings, they were expecting better goaltending. I think in a team that's developing, such as the Red Wings or the Senators, you need goaltending to steal you a couple games. And the past 2 games they lost were winnable games if they just got a little more goaltending. I'm not putting the whole blame on the goaltending, but I think that was a part of it. But now let's switch gears over to basketball. Quickly recap the Raptors Thursday in case everyone forgot how they lost that game 120-106, being out-rebounded 49-32. And only 3 offensive rebounds in that game. Just remember that as we go forward. They lost again to the Wolves last night. Mind you, the rebounding was much closer. The team did look a lot better. But I think a huge issue for them was they were not shooting well enough. They were only shooting the ball at 41.8%, while the Wolves were shooting at 52.4%, which, don't get me wrong, that's ridiculous what the Wolves were doing. But at the same time, the Raptors need to keep up. And the Raptors hit the three-pointers 30.3% of the time, when the Wolves hit it 41%. This is frustrating for the Raptors because they were only out-rebounded by 2 rebounds that game, and they actually did a good job on the offensive boards, but then they just weren't able to capitalize those boards into points. Which this still brings up the question, do the Raptors go for Drummond? It's a tough one here because the Raptors are pressed right up against the cap, and Drummond is paid just a short of $29 million a year. Mind you, Drummond is averaging 18.5 points a game, 2.7 assists, and 14.2 rebounds. But for the Raptors to get Drummond, you're going to have to see a guy like Norman Powell go. Playoff Powell, starter Powell, the guy who has really been the heart and soul of this team besides of Kyle Lowry, is going to have to go the other way. According to TSN, Raptors have reported they are looking into this trade, but what's stopping them from pulling the trigger is to make it fit in their cap, they're going to have to give up a lot more than realistically what Drummond's worth. But stay tuned on that topic, because I'm going to talk about that more on Friday, because Friday is our first ever episode of 705 Sports, where Colette and I will be breaking down all different kinds of sports and getting more into depth of what we're talking about here at the News at Night. But I think we got to go to a commercial. Colette will have more news with you right after this.